Hey, it's Thursday, almost 7 o'clock. Just got off of work. Well, my hair colors are starting to look similar now because they're washing out. And of course, underneath the red and purple was fuchsia, so it's kind of going back to fuchsia. Not sure if I mentioned it. I probably did. I don't know. I started school again last week. So I'm on week 2 of school. And I'm taking a child abnormal psychology class. And I'm also taking a capstone class where I have to pretty much write like a 20-page paper about a topic of interest that I want to focus my capstone on. And I actually figured it out. And I'm like, shit. Now I know what I want to do research on. I need to get back into the PhD program. I'll just finish my master's and then take a break and then maybe revisit the PhD in the fall. Because I definitely still want to finish that. I just want to feel better, balance out my food and my health issues. But what I've decided that I'm going to focus my, research and capstone on is I want to explore how generational trauma affects parenting styles amongst Mexican, American, Indigenous, Native people. Now, I say Mexican, American, Indigenous, Native because that's what I am, right? I'm Mexican, American. I'm not from Mexico. I'm actually American. I was born here. So it might even be misleading to say that I'm American. I'm indigenous from what is now called Mexico, but I'm native to this land. You know, America and Mexico, it's all the same fucking piece of land. So I am kind of considered all those things, right? So I figured I'm going to do something that relates to me, so I'm passionate about it, and then relate it to my job, and then maybe contribute to some social positive change. So on my research journey and working with a Native American tribe, I have been able to witness firsthand through my life experience and through my work and just life in general and reading and doing my research that colonization has contributed to mass generational trauma amongst the Mexican Indigenous Americans. Like it has affected us since like the fucking 1500s. Okay, there have been constant wars going on since the 1500s until the 1900s with, I guess, the Mexican Indigenous people. Like, there's still political and immigrant issues to this day that are contributing to the childhood trauma that the children and their parents are experiencing. So we, Mexican American Indigenous people, have been through some shit. And we are like the largest population in this area. And we have the least amount of publicity, the least amount of research has been done on us, and the least amount of, I want to say, support for our, especially the more north you get in Washington, in my area. Now, I don't know, I'm pretty sure there's some states and cities that have a lot of support for Spanish-speaking people, but not many, okay? Not hardly any. I am like the only Spanish-speaking provider that I know in my area that does what I do. It doesn't mean they're not out there, but when someone's looking for someone that's bilingual, they're really happy that they found me. So they're not out there everywhere, and they're hard to find. So on my research, I've also learned that the young children, like 90% of the, no wait, I think it's like 85 to 90% of the people, like the children in the United States, have Mexican indigenous blood, okay? That includes all other races are mixed with our blood. And yet there are so few resources to help with our generational trauma, but also we Mexican American indigenous people are not really completely accepted in America, and we're not completely accepted in Mexico either. So we're just kind of floating around, creating our own culture, pretty much. Like, we're so mixed, and we've lost so much of our culture through colonization and boarding schools and, I guess, immigration issues and foster care systems and CPS systems and like all of these colonized ways of caring for children. In the process, it's only caused more poverty, more low-income families. Like, we are the biggest low-income demographic, okay? How are we like the most people and the poorest people? The least educated, the ones with the most mental health issues and the most addictions and domestic violence and lack of access to resources and healthcare and shit. Like, that doesn't make any fucking sense. And then most recently, I've been thinking, okay, yeah, all indigenous peoples in North Central America have experienced some sort of discrimination for being indigenous, or not being American enough, or for being Mexican. And prejudicism also. Like, there's just so much discrimination and negative talk. And there's a lot of division. And I've been working for a tribal government that's not my own for going on 5 years now. And I'm starting to see that indigenous American people that have the privilege of belonging to a tribe are actually privileged indigenous people. I don't come from privilege, right? It's a privilege to have your own piece of land, to have all these access to resources and extra support, and to have your own government, your own communities and all that shit. But we Mexican indigenous people that live in America, We don't have that. And we don't even have that in Mexico, okay? We are not privileged. We are still discriminated against, and there's still constant issues. It's really disheartening to think about, but it is the reality. Like, so I want to do more research in that area. Like, I know it affects parenting, okay? But I have to show how it affects parenting for scholarly people to fucking listen to it. Like, I think we all know that there's a lot of trauma and generational trauma in the United States, period. Like, it doesn't matter what fucking culture you're from. There's trauma, okay? We're all walking around with trauma in the United States. That's the one thing we all have in common. We're all traumatized, and we're all traumatizing each other constantly. But because it would be way too much research and way too big of a paper to focus on everyone's culture, I'm gonna focus on my own. I have to narrow it down, okay? So that's where I'm at. I don't know where that's gonna lead me. Maybe I can help create a program or write some books for children. I don't know. I don't fucking know. But I feel like my eyes are open, and I kind of know where I'm going. So that's kind of exciting.